ever seen a submarine submerging on the ocean water? How about the experience of diving over 100 feet under the water without getting wet or bit by a shark? Learn the details of this experience ahead in Cozumel with me, and let's dive into this amazing immersive experience as I discover what Alebrijes are and their meaning. Come with me and stick to the end because I'm paying for $150 of your drinks on board. Definitely score! Hi everyone, my name is Selena, but you can call me Sally, and I run the channel Let's Adventure, where I travel solo, sharing all the incredible adventures you can live vacationing in a camper van. So this is your chance to subscribe to the channel and not miss a bit of vacation inspiration, solo female empowerment, and all the travel tips one can get. But in this mini season, we're leaving the camper van behind and sailing away in a solo cruising adventure. So if you find good tips here or have any questions, please make sure to like and comment. That helps me a lot. Now, come sail away with me, adventures!
So today is excursion day. Our excursion is not until 1 p.m. in the afternoon. So we kind of have the boat to ourselves because most people left early in the morning for their excursions. So we're gonna see if we can catch brunch at the wake. Let's try. So like every morning, the coffee place always has a line, even when the ship is kind of emptied out. But the line moves fast, so let's try to get to the wake. And we made it in! All right, let's check this. Oh my god, y'all, and we still got a window seat. Big time score. Thank you so much.
My favorite thing for breakfast and brunch is eggs Benedict. They had a couple different ones in their menu, so I had to eat here twice. Make sure to watch the restaurants episode where I share the best tips you must know to book these restaurants and an unpleasant experience I had. I'll put that on the screen at the end of this episode for you. Now it's time to get out of this ship and get to check out Cozumel. Come with me.
It's time to build the courage up to go down in a submarine. Let's see how this goes. Come with me.
When my cruise ship docked in Cozumel, I found myself funneled straight into what I like to call a tourist trap. A maze of souvenir shops filled with bright trinkets and sales pitches. But I wasn't here for a fridge magnet. I was on a mission. I was hunting for Alebrijes. These fantastical creatures come from the vivid fever dreams of a Mexican artist named Pedro Linares. When he was very ill, Pedro dreamt he was wandering through a strange forest filled with surreal hybrid animals. And when he recovered, he felt compelled to bring these creatures to life, each one bursting with color, energy, and symbolism. And the cool meaning of the word Alebrije, Ale comes from alegria, meaning joy. Bri comes from bruja, meaning witch, and Ije comes from embije, a word tied to painting. In a way, these creatures are joyful, mystical paintings come to life. In Mexican culture, Alebrijes are more than just folk art. They're believed to be spiritual guides, animals linked to our souls, bridging the physical world and the spirit realm. So I had to find one that reminded me of Bailey to keep me tied to my spiritual animal. This one came home with me. Next, we hopped in a van to dive literally into the most exciting part of the day, a submarine ride. We pulled up to Atlantis Submarines, a company that's been making underwater exploration possible for over 3 decades. In Cozumel, they've been safely guiding passengers deep into the ocean floor since 1999. Before boarding, we watched a short safety briefing video that laid out everything we needed to know about the dive. And then it was time to head through the exciting mermaid portal into Anna, the boat that took us to the submarine. for the lovely crew that traveled with us to give us all the disclaimers we need in a very fun and interesting way.
Ajustan su medida cubriendo correctamente su nariz y boca para poder respirar aire limpio. The mask is like this one, easy to use. You only have to clear the filter, removing the flow caps, one outside, the other inside. Put around your head and then just...
Thank goodness the cruise share, no one ever had to use that rescue equipment, and we were lucky not to be the first ones too. Once we arrived at the location, yes, this is the spot. We just had to watch for the exciting moment to come. I've never seen a submarine rise to the surface before, and if you haven't either, I'll tell you, this in person was quite exciting to see, and a moment you don't even think about because you're only thinking about being inside the submarine, hundreds of feet below the surface. Next part of the logistic was quite interesting. They remove everyone that is in the submarine and they sit in the back of the boat, and then us that are in the front of the boat go inside the submarine. This is it! We're boarding a real-life submarine. The Atlantis Submarine holds about 48 passengers, plus the crew. It's long, narrow, and lined with individual seats and little round porthole windows. Basically, it feels like a cozy underwater tour bus, if that bus went 100 feet below the sea level and had no exits. I was ready and holding my breath as we climbed down to the 100 plus feet below the surface to see all the stingrays, sharks, whales, maybe a mermaid waving at me from a coral throne. At least those were my expectations of under the sea. I guess working at Disney contributed to that imaginary mind of mine. So as we sunk below the surface, I was glued to the window ready for an underwater parade of vibrant coral, sea creatures, and maybe a dramatic music score playing in my head. And then, nothing. Just blue, more blue, a slightly different shade of blue. If you ever open your fridge expecting cake and found lettuce, that's the kind of emotional shift I'm talking about. But at least I learned there's cool science behind it. As we descend into the ocean, sunlight begins to scatter. Water absorbs colors at different rates. The reds and oranges disappear first, and by the time you're 100 feet deep, most of the vivid colors are completely gone. It's not that the reef isn't colorful, it's that light cannot reach in the same way, so everything looks kind of blue, green, gray. And just as I was starting to wonder if the most exciting thing I would see was my own reflection in the porthole, there it was. A shark! Yes, a real shark just cruising by like, oh, tourists again. And I was so happy because this is definitely the only encounter I'll ever be okay to have with a shark. And I was really excited that I got to experience this in the submarine, where I felt safe. We finally hit 100 feet below the water surface, and the ride was about to get to the part where the ocean floor dropped. Literally, we hovered right over what felt like the edge of the world, where they refer to as the abyss. And after finding a few stingrays, just when I thought the ride was about to end, is when we made it to a real shipwreck. It made this whole dive feel like a journey into history. It was kind of thrilling to imagine what stories it might hold. Pirates? Storms? Or just a boat that lost the GPS signal? It was fascinating to see at this close. So yeah, maybe it wasn't the underwater Disneyland I pictured, but it was something real cool. A real glimpse into the deep, mysterious world below the surface I would never have the courage to dive into if it wasn't for the submarine.
Bienvenidos a la superficie. Muchísimas felicidades. Lo han logrado. Welcome to the surface. Congratulations, you made it.
Thank you so much. This is cool. You got a great view, huh? Thank you. Have a good day. Leaving the submarine, I was reflecting on how I've always been curious about the deep ocean. But let's be real, me diving, not happening. The second I imagine a shark encounter, it's game over. And if you know anything about my stories, yeah, that would definitely be a thing that will happen to me. But this submarine ride let me go deep, literally, into a world I've always wanted to explore. It was definitely not all the Disney colorful under the sea I was imagining, but this is a perfect example on how I try to live fully, respecting my limits, but still challenging what scares me. Because sometimes, courage doesn't mean diving in head first. It means finding your own way to go deep. And after some time relaxing on my favorite spot on the ship, yes, the hammock and the balcony, well, it's time to take you into our next Out of This Ship experience and share with you what's in Bimini, Virgin Voyages Private Beach Club. And I'll show you exactly where you need a bit to not miss a bit of fun that you can have. Wait a minute, are those kids' sandcastle buckets? Isn't this an all-adult cruise? You definitely cannot miss this next week. And if you made this far, thank you. My gift for you is $150 to spend on your cruise on Virgin Voyages as a bar tab. So scan the QR code that is on the screen. A new episode every Sunday. Make sure you subscribe so you won't miss. And until then, here is all you need to know about the restaurants in Virgin Voyages. So if you missed it, click and watch. Let me know what you think in the comments. Let's stay in touch. I'll see you next Sunday, adventures.